Hello astronomy enthusiasts from all over the world. I am Luis Miguel Azorin and I welcome you to a new video of Astronomical events. As every month, we are going to review the most important astronomical events that you could observe in the sky. During the month of March 2025, from lunar phases to planetary alignments and meteor showers, I'll tell you what you can't miss and give you tips on how to photograph each of these events. Let's get started. And let's begin, as always, first with the lunar phases. We start with the first quarter on March 6th. This is an ideal phase to observe and photograph the moon's craters due to the shadows that highlight its relief, especially in the area of the lunar terminator. We move on to the full moon on March 14th. The full moon in March is known as the worm moon because in the northern hemisphere, this is the time when the ground begins to thaw and the first worms and insects appear, marking the start of spring. As you already know, the full moon phase is not particularly good for observing it, but it is very interesting for composing photographs, especially with telephoto lenses. March to second last quarter. Like the first quarter, it is a good time to observe details in the lunar seas, craters, and mountain ranges of the moon. And finally, March 29th, new moon. It is the most anticipated lunar phase for astronomers, enthusiasts, and astrophotographers because it is an excellent phase for sky observation. As the absence of the moon allows galaxies and nebulae to be seen more clearly, we now move on to review the main planetary events for the month of March. The most interesting planetary event of March is the total lunar eclipse, which will take place between March 13th and 14th. The eclipse will be fully visible from the entire American continent, and partially from much of the Iberian Peninsula and the Canary Islands. The eclipse times in universal time are at 3:57, the start of the penumbral eclipse. At 5:09, the beginning of the partial eclipse. At 6:26, the start of totality. At 6:58, the maximum of the eclipse. At 7:31, the end of totality. At 8:47, the end of the partial eclipse. And at 10 Dalos, the end of the penumbral eclipse. I remind you that these times are in universal time. In Spain, the eclipse will be seen at dawn, just before sunrise, with a partially eclipsed moon in red tones almost setting on the horizon. The eclipse can be seen with the naked eye, but it is highly recommended to use a telescope or binoculars to enjoy all its details. Having reviewed the planetary events, we move on to the most notable astronomical events of the month. March 20th, spring equinox. It marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere. During the equinox, day and night have practically the same duration all over the planet because the sun is positioned exactly over the Earth's equator. This phenomenon is key in many cultures and ancient civilizations. For example, in Chichen Itza, the temple of Kukulkan projects a shadow effect that simulates the descent of the feathered serpent, an event that still attracts thousands of visitors today. March 22nd and 23rd, peak of the Beta Virginis meteor shower. This meteor shower, active from mid-March to early April, will peak on the night of March 22nd to 23rd, although it is not one of the most intense meteor showers of the year. It can offer about 5 meteors per hour in dark skies. However, some of these meteors are expected to be quite bright, making it an interesting opportunity for observation and astrophotography. The radiant is located in the constellation of Virgo, so it is advisable to look towards the east after midnight to maximize the chances of spotting. And as always, we conclude this video of ephemerides with some tips so you can photograph the most notable events of the month, the new moon. If you're looking to photograph the Milky Way, it's the best time. Find a place away from light pollution and use a wide-angle lens with a large aperture. Additionally, the new moon, as you already know, is also the best time for deep sky astronomical observation and deep sky astrophotography. To photograph the lunar eclipse, I recommend using a telescope or telephoto lens and applying multi-exposure or HDR techniques during the totality phase. This way, you can capture the entire dynamic range of the eclipse and its reddish color against the backdrop of stars. If you photograph it from Spain, take advantage of the moonset to align this eclipsed moon with some landscape element. It can be a truly stunning shot. To capture it within a landscape, look for a clear horizon and don't forget to use a long focal length. Use planning programs like PhotoPills or Planet to ensure you get spectacular photos. For the Beta Virginids meteor shower, place your camera on a tripod, connect an intervalometer, and shoot with exposures between 20 and 30 seconds to maximize meteor capture. Not only will you get photos like this, but you will also be able to compose a time-lapse. With the result of your images, as you can see, March brings us a month full of incredible astronomical events. Remember to plan your observation and photography sessions in advance to make the most of each phenomenon. If you want to learn more about astrophotography and astrophotographic processing, I invite you to visit our school online, Astro Academy, where you will find detailed courses to improve your skills and capture the night sky like a professional. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos from Astro Academy. See you under the stars.